where he is from?
I don't know what country he's from.
Somewhere Middle East?
Well, his name is Muhammad Khalid.
Yeah, sounds like a Muslim name, right?
I'm sure he's, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is like they're just using this to get rid of people they don't like that aren't Christian.
But who actually executed?
ICE.
ICE?
But, yeah, the agency in the U.S. that's responsible for deporting people out of the country.
Is it like an immigration office?
Yeah, it's part of immigration.
Interesting.
But
Well, there was a part of immigration that can deport people
What's that?
in the U.S. Is there a special division of the immigration in the U.S. called ICE? Is
Yeah.
that where they decide who to... What exactly? Did he
It's
have
Immigrations and Customs Enforcement.
So it's basically immigration. Immigration
That's
has
what I
such
said,
a...
yeah. It's immigration.
Basically,
it's
it's
their
not-
police enforcement branch, right? Like you go through immigration at the hotel or at the airport all the time, right? But those aren't ICE agents. They're just immigration agents. But ICE is like the police. They can go, they can break down your door. They carry guns.
Oh my
They
god.
arrest you and throw you in the back of a truck.
Really?
And you get sent off somewhere. That's what I was saying. They were sending people to Guantanamo Bay. They were sending people to somewhere in South America because they keep those people outside of the U.S. And once you're outside of the U.S., you're not protected by any kind of U.S. imprisonment law. So they can do anything they want to you once you're not on U.S. soil. You have no rights. So you're basically in this state of they can torture you. They can do anything to you.
This police, ICE.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And so
That's terrible.
it's not great, but in the past they've just been this person has overstayed their, your friends who are staying in the U.S. illegally, couple, ICE could go and arrest them and send them away.
Right.
But in the past it would just be that kind of thing, right? These people are in the U.S. illegally and they're going to be deported back to where they came from. But this guy was in the U.S. legally. He had a green card, and he's a student enrolled at a U.S. university, and they still arrested him and took him off to some place. I guess he was in a prison somewhere in one of the U.S. states for a while, but now they don't really know where he's been sent.
Is he still in the U.S. or?
We don't know. No one knows where they don't have to tell anybody where these people are, because once they're out of this U.S. system, they don't have a right to a lawyer. They don't have any kind of rights, right?
So what exactly he was doing? He was giving a speech, or
He was part of he was frequently joining or leading anti-Israeli protests. Ever since this whole, you remember what happened a year and a half ago, right? Where the Hamas, about the Hamas and Israel and all that, right? Hamas is basically the government of Palestine. They weren't democratically elected. They basically took over, and they're very violent, and nobody likes Hamas. I don't like Hamas, but they took over as the leaders of Palestinians movement in the settlements outside of Israel. And then they launched a big attack October 7th, 2024, I think. Or was it 23? I can't remember. There was big news where they were suddenly a whole bunch of people went into there's Israel and then there's Palestine.
Yeah.
And Israel constantly pushes, they constantly go into Palestine and take land. And then they set up houses, and then they get Israeli citizens to live in those houses, and they call it occupied Palestine. Basically, Israel is constantly trying to expand into Palestine, right? So they bulldoze big areas, and then they build houses, and then people go and live in those houses. Israeli people go and live in those houses. Or they just take over, they kick out Palestinians and take over their houses. There's videos of that happening too, where people are just being kicked out of their house, and then Jewish people go, or the Israeli people go and live there. And what happened was, like, October 7th, a whole bunch of people, Hamas fighters, went into these occupied areas, and they were killing babies, they were killing girls, men, boys. They were going into everyone's houses and finding them and just killing them, or kidnapping them and torturing them and keeping them. And everyone was like, that's horrible, you can't do that. But then what Israel did is they just started bombing the cities in Palestine. They just killed everybody. Like, they were bombing everything. They bombed hospitals, schools. They just killed thousands of people, men, women, children. They didn't care. They just firebombed. I mean, they turned the area into basically just rubble, and they were doing that for so long. And you know, we had all kinds of. They were they were keeping. People were sending aid, supply ships. They were attacking those ships. Some U.S. ships got attacked by sympathetic forces. They were trying to get food aid into Palestine.
Yeah.
And so it was just it continues to be. It hasn't ended yet. It's still ongoing. So there's people who are like, well, if you don't like Israel, you must be pro-Hamas. But they're the real people who are like, no, we're not pro-Hamas. We think what Hamas did was awful. But we don't think that the answer to it was to just start bombing civilians in the cities. Let me see. I want to make sure I get my facts straight.
Your facts right? You getting the facts?
Troy, what's up?
I'm just wondering, how many civilians do we estimate died in the Israel retribution against the Hamas attacks?
The conflict between Israel and Hamas has had significant civilian casualties on both sides. The exact number can vary depending on the source and the specific time frame you're asking about. Would you like me to find a recent estimate?
Yeah, that'd be great.
As of February 3rd, 2025, nearly 62,000 Palestinians have died, with over 17,000 children and more than 10,000 women among them. In Israel, over 1,700 people have died.
Wow.
So 1,700 people in
horrible.
Israel, 62,000 people in Palestine. So like
Oh my gosh. That's
20 or 30 times more people were killed, right?
Yeah.
And they were just, like I said, they were just bombing the cities. They didn't have a specific
That was like,
targets.
what, for this last couple of years?
Yeah, just last year. That's in the last year since
Oh my
it started.
goodness.
So anyway, obviously a lot of people in the U.S. are from Israel and from Palestine, so they have a lot of protests. And there are a lot of Israeli people who are pro-Palestinian. Like, they also disagree that the response from the Israeli government was wrong, and they shouldn't have just started killing everybody, right? Just bombing everybody. They thought they should be going after the Hamas leadership, which again, the people of Palestine didn't necessarily want. It was kind of forced on them because they had all the military control. So this guy was one of the people protesting against Israel's response and all the killing. And the new Trump is friendly to Israel because Israel buys weapons from the U.S. And there's a lot of trade going on with Israel in the U.S. So he's very friendly towards Israel, and he also, Israel is, if you're a Christian, Israel is like more in Judaism and Christianity are kind of more together. Like, they work together better.
Yeah.
Even though Islam also has the same God. I mean, the God of Islam is the same God as the God of Judaism and the God of Christianity. They're all the same God.
Right.
Jesus exists in the Islamic religion.
Yeah.
He wasn't like a God, he was a prophet.
Was what?
A prophet. He was like, a prophet of God, a representative speaking of,
Oh, yeah.
of bringing God to people, right?
Right.
So first of all, it's just weird how much they all hate each other.
Right.
And you think they'd all go off and kill Buddhists or something, but no, they kill each other.
It's too different, and they don't feel like even arguing. There's no way that they can argue about their gun because it's too different. Right?
Yeah, Buddhist people are like, yeah, that's fine. Like,
whatever you say, or whatever you believe.
Whatever makes you happy. That's the whole point, right?
It just doesn't make sense to us at all.
But anyway, the point is, this guy was exercising the rights given to American citizens and green card holder. He is a permanent resident in the U.S.
Right.
So he's extended all the same rights as a citizen.
Right.
And one of those rights is to go and protest. And what they've decided that the only thing you aren't allowed to do in the U.S., the only speech that's not protected, is speech that would potentially lead to harm for others.
Right.
So I can't say like, hey, someone should shoot Elon Musk in the head. Like that would get me arrested, right? Like I can't say that.
Oh my god.
In the U.S., you can't say that kind of thing, and you definitely can't say like someone should shoot.
Kind of dangerous. Look.
Yeah, you can't say like I want to shoot Trump, because that's not just not unprotected speech. That's illegal. It's illegal in the U.S. to threaten violence against a public official, like a government official, especially the president. But these people, he wasn't ever saying that. He was just denouncing Islam, and he might even have been pro-Hamas, which again, that's not great. I don't support. Most people think Hamas is awful because what they did was awful. Again, they went in and they were killing babies in front of their mothers.
Yeah, that's
but they don't represent the people of Palestine any more than the government of Japan represents you, right? Like you're not. Their decisions don't represent your feelings any more than Trump's decisions represent my feelings, right? So the point is, he wasn't harming anyone, and none of his speech was actually calling for any violence. But the Department of Justice, the government, the branch of our government that interprets interprets what's legal and what's not legal outside of like the judicial system, said like no, that his speech was potentially causing harm. Is this not right?
Might made a wrong exit, but might be okay too. Might be just in between the two places, so it should be.
Oh, are you trying to go to some other place?
I'm going to go fix the car, right?
I thought.
I'll be there just in 10 minutes. I might be able to get out from here, but maybe one more exit away.
Anyway, the point is, they're not allowed to arrest someone for protesting, but they're starting to make it. They're trying to push the idea of arresting protesters for any reason, right? They have people who are protesting at Tesla dealerships in the U.S., and now they're saying we should be able to arrest those people. It's like that's the First Amendment of the Constitution.
Pretty much like communist country now.
Right, exactly. That's what everyone's so freaked out about. Is Trump came in, he gave Elon Musk, for whatever reason,
Why he picked Elon?
Because Elon gave him $250 million.
Just because of money, or Elon want whatever the
and they were
president.
also politically aligned, right? Elon Musk is doing the Nazi salutes. He's going to Germany and speaking on behalf of the most kind of like right-wing, kind of Nazi adjacent.
So what Elon wants to do, and what?
Elon is a crazy person. He has like 17 children with 5 or 6 different women. He basically thinks he should be impregnating as many women as possible because he's like super intellectual, and like the world needs more of him in the world. So he's like sleeping with all these women, getting them all pregnant, and taking ketamine, which is a drug, and like he thinks that helps him be a super genius. But I don't
know if that is that how he really wants, or he just wants to have as many kids as possible.
Yeah, he he wants to have as many kids as possible.
Yeah,
Like, why do you want to have as many kids as possible with many different women? He's not raising the kids. Like, he's just getting these women pregnant, and then he's like, good, I'm going to have more little miniature copies of me out there in the world. Right? He's not being a father to them. He's just making them, and then off they go, right? And he's become like extremely right wing, extremely, you know. He was the first person to say, like, we have to get rid of all this DEI, you know, the diversity, equity, inclusion in the U.S. Like, that's bad. People shouldn't. You know, basically, like, he feels like everyone should be a white guy. Everyone with any kind of power should be a white man, a straight white man.
Is that what he said?
Okay, yeah.
Did he say that?
That's what being against DEI is saying, like, we shouldn't be giving jobs to, like, minorities and women and gay people. Right? So, and that's just become, like, it just doesn't make sense.
I need to get out of this exit real quick.
His argument is that people were given jobs even though they didn't have the right, they didn't have, like, they weren't smart enough, or they didn't have the right skills. But obviously, no employer is going to hire someone who is not going to be good at their job. It just creates a headache for everybody, right? Is this the same place we usually take the car to?
Yeah. Can you check this company called Yamada Jidosha
Where it's located?
in Onojo? It's actually somewhere around here.
There.
Make a. Wow, this is a dangerous. Look, dangerous by like tunnel. It just sinks under the water. It's flooded. And I think someone died or something. It's a very obvious sign. How many meters? I should miss the turn, right?
It's 13 minutes.
Oh, that far. Oh my god. But I don't want to get on the highway.
Musk is the
only
richest
one.
man who's ever lived on the earth. Ever. No
Ever.
one ever has been richer than Elon Musk.
Really?
He had $400 billion
That's
when he
interesting.
got Trump elected.
Huh.
And obviously one of the things he wants is to like continue to be the richest man in the world and
Wow.
be the first person to have $1 trillion.
Interesting.
You know, I mean, we can only guess why he was doing everything, but one of the first things he did was he went into the government. He was given this special government employee status by Trump, and then he went into a number of different agencies in the U.S. and just like fired everyone or closed the agency, and a lot of them were agencies that were doing like investigations into his companies because he has these different companies, right? You have to turn.
Oh. Wait a minute.
Yeah, you have to turn up here to the left.
Is there a way out?
You have to turn where that truck is turning.
Ah, there we go. Good. Okay, this looks very familiar to me now.
Yeah, and then I'm taking a right a little bit after we cross the.
Yeah, I think it's very close then.
Can you explain in Japanese some of the reasons Elon Musk may have closed the various or attacked the various U.S. agencies that he attacked?
イーロン・マスクがアメリカの警察機関に対して批判的な行動を取った理由はいくつか考えられます。例えば彼は規制や政府の介入を嫌い、自由なビジネス環境を求める傾向があります。また政府の決定や政策がテスラやスペース X の事業に影響を与えると感じた場合、その不満を公にすることがあります。これらは一例で、具体的な理由は状況によって異なります。
That's Trump, right? Or
No, it's
Elon?
Elon.
Sure.
Elon.
Can you explain that in English instead of Japanese now?
Sure. Elon Musk often criticizes U.S. agencies because he dislikes regulations and government intervention. He prefers a more open business environment. Sometimes, he also feels government decisions might negatively impact his companies, like Tesla or SpaceX. So, he speaks out about those concerns publicly.
So that's
Can you
why.
explain in Japanese the concerns people have that he specifically targeted agencies that were investigating his companies?
わかりました。彼が特定の政府機関を標的にする理由として、彼の会社、例えばテスラやスペース X を調査している機関に対する反発があります。彼はその調査や規制が不当だと感じた場合、強く反発し、批判することがあります。これはビジネスの自由を守るための行動と考えられます。
Can you repeat that in English?
Sure. One reason he targets specific agencies is that they might be investigating his companies, like Tesla or SpaceX.
But
He
can
only
you
feels these
can you explain that he has already attacked those agencies by laying off or firing many of their employees or otherwise crippling their ability to investigate his companies in Japanese?
Excuse me.
わかりました彼はすでにそうした政府機関に対して攻撃的な行動をとり、例えば機関の職員を解雇させたり、調査能力を損なわせるなどの行動を取ったことがあります。これにより彼の会社に対する調査が困難になることもあるとされています。
So he wants to manipulate the government.
Right.
That's why he's so close to
Right. That's
Trump.
That's why he gave Trump
a lot of money.
$250 million. That's why he started supporting Trump on his Twitter that he paid $44 billion
So he's
to buy.
going to be a dictator of the
Well,
U.S.
he saw it, I think, as a way to. And then you see the thing about he got Trump to like go out on the White House lawn and advertise Teslas.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he had Trump he gave Trump a little thing. Like people took pictures. He had a little thing of notes about Teslas and the price points and all the different features, and they got
Really?
a big photo op of Trump like getting in different Teslas and talking about how great they looked, and then buying one and saying like, I'm buying this one here. It's like, I can't drive it because I'm not allowed to drive, but I'm going to let my staff drive it, right? And people are just like, what is going on? The president of the United States is advertising for a company? Like,
it's totally crazy.
when just like a couple of years ago, Trump was complaining that it was the standard conservative thing in the U.S. that electric vehicles were bad because they were interrupting our
That's what
gas. Gasoline was better, and
that was what Trump was saying.
yeah, Trump was saying electric cars were bad because they didn't go very far, or they didn't go fast enough. Because that was the standard conservative thing, right? About up until about a year and a half ago, electric vehicles were seen as very liberal, very like progressive, right? You're protecting the environment, and that's why a lot of very progressive people were buying Teslas because they thought Elon was like helping save the world by like, and then so the kind of the conservative speaking point was that we should be supporting our auto industry and our gas companies and everybody by not buying electric vehicles because they were like weak and you couldn't go very far and you had to find a place to charge them and all this stuff. And then there was a whole bunch of people in the south of the U.S. who would do this thing called rolling coal, where they would intentionally run their trucks really hard, and like so all the black smoke was coming out of them to burn as much gas as they could to show like that they hated electric cars and they wanted to have strong gas powered cars. And now here it is a couple of years later, and now Trump's like, I'm going to buy a Tesla. Teslas look great. I'll have to show you the video of it. It's so bizarre. That's right.
Yep.
Can you briefly describe in Japanese the recent photo op of Donald Trump buying a Tesla on the White House lawn and why that's such a strange thing for us?
はい、最近ドナルド・トランプ氏がホワイトハウスの庭でテスラを購入するという写真撮影がありました。これはとても奇妙な出来事です。なぜなら政治家が公の場で特定の企業製品を支持することは珍しいからです。特にホワイトハウスという政府の場で行われたことが注目を集めています。
Can you explain that in English?
Sure. Recently, there was a photo op of Donald Trump buying a Tesla on the White House lawn. This is unusual because it's rare for politicians to publicly endorse a specific company's product, especially in a government setting like the White House. This made the event quite notable.
I guess Elon desperately wanted.
Oh, I'm sure Elon was
to.
like, well, because what happened is Elon Musk went right before Trump was made president. Elon Musk went out to this it's called CPAC. It's the Republican committee's like big convention that they hold every year or so. And he went out and spoke, and he did this Nazi salute. And then he turned around and did it again to the people behind him. So he did the Nazi salute twice. Which in the U.S. is like, you don't fucking do a Nazi salute. Like you just don't do that. And then he's like, oh, it wasn't a Nazi salute. It was an ancient Roman salute. It's like, yeah, where do you think the Nazis got it from, right?
Sneaking it up, right? Konnichiwa. So what's Trump is trying to do?
Trump doesn't care because the only reason he wanted to become president was because it kept him out of jail. He was convicted of 36 crimes, and then there was more crimes that were being investigated federally and state. And if he didn't get elected, then he would have had to go to trial for all the other investigations.
My goodness.
And becoming president means he could pardon himself right away.
Really?
Yeah. So
That's not fair.
Of course it's not
I want to be a president, or everyone should be a president.
The only things he can't pardon himself for are state crimes. If the president can pardon anyone for a federal crime, but not a state crime, so he's still a convicted criminal in many like smaller cases. Like he sexually assaulted a woman in New York. He was found guilty, and then
Really? He was found guilty
Yeah,
already?
and then
But he's not.
and then he was also, and then he was convicted of he was libel, but he committed libel against her, saying that lying about her in court, right, and on the news. Well, not in court. I think when he was under oath, he didn't repeat it, but as soon as he left court, he was found guilty of libel. He was forced to pay a big fine, and then he left the courthouse and then did a press conference, and he libeled her again. And then he got taken to court again and had to pay like a multi-million-dollar fine. But you know, that's like that he can't pardon himself for. But he didn't have to do jail time for that. But he had a lot of things he did at the federal level that he was going to be investigated and taken to court over. Not, you know, among those being things like he took a bunch of top secret documents with him and he kept them in unsafe locations in Mar-a-Lago, his hotel, right? They were just like stacked up in bathrooms and stuff where anyone could walk in and take them, you know.
Take what?
Like top secret documents that he took with him from when he was the president. And he took them, and what usually happens is like because a lot of times that happens for presidents, right? They take a bunch of documents away. Someone realizes that there's some top secret documents missing. They let the former president know, and the former president gets them together and returns them. But he had lawyers say that they had fully searched all of his documents and didn't find anything that was secret, marked secret, and they signed things saying that was true. And then later they found that he actually had. The FBI went to Mar-a-Lago with a warrant, and they found all kinds of top secret documents that his lawyer said he didn't have, and they took them away. And then all the people on the right were like, they were going to kill him. They went there to shoot Donald Trump. The FBI is being used to assassinate a former president. The FBI is allowed to kill anyone if they're being shot at. That's the whole point. Because like in the warrant it says like use of deadly force is authorized, but that's standard operating procedure for any FBI warrant investigation. If they go to someone's house or someplace to execute a warrant and someone starts shooting at them, they're allowed to shoot back, right? That's just standard procedure. So that was in the warrant for his search. But then people looked at that and were like, they were going there intentionally to just shoot Donald Trump to dead, which is insane. But anyway, they found all these documents that he'd had his lawyer say didn't have, and that's another federal crime. So he was being investigated for that. And there's other, like the thing is he committed so many crimes, it's hard to remember all the details of them, right? And so all of those were just thrown out as soon as he became president.
Wow.
All those investigations.
Great idea.
He fired all the people involved in. He basically went to the FBI and said, "I'm putting my own person in charge of the FBI," and he put this he put this guy in charge of the FBI, Kash Patel, who was like a radio talk show host, pro-Trump talk show host. He had no experience with law enforcement, nothing. Now that guy's running the FBI. He has zero experience with anything having to do with the FBI or law enforcement. And in the past, he said the FBI should be thrown out, should be shut down. It's a waste of taxpayer money. But anyway, the point is, he then had an email sent around saying, if you were involved in any investigation of Donald Trump, you have to let us know. And then they started firing everybody who was involved in any investigation of Donald Trump. It's crazy. I keep saying it's crazy. It's like... It's beyond crazy. It's like a book. It's like someone made a bad book. Just a minute. Let me get your leash. Just a minute. I'll take in this bread, okay?
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Bread?
Yeah, appreciate it.
You gonna take in this Sakura branch?
If you can, that'd be great.
What's
too.
that?
If you can, that'd be great. But if your hands full, I think your hands full of all these stuff and lucky, so it's okay. Well, thank you. Thank you.
The windows are down.
Oh yeah, thank you. 家に着きました。なんかうちの旦那もう毎日めっちゃトランプが大統領になったこと怒ってて、なんかどんだけクレイジーなことが起きてるかっていう風に、なんかもう毎日毎日いろんな記事とか読んで怒ってて、で今も言ってたのが、トランプはもうむちゃくちゃいろんななんか犯罪を犯していて、それが有罪になったりとかしてるけど、あ、そうそう、なんでトランプが大統領になったと思うかっていう風に聞いたら、すごいいろんな犯罪を犯してるから、それが大統領になった瞬間、逮捕されることがなくなっているっていうことと、あとはなんだっけ、イーロン・マスクがなぜ、トランプに何億円なんか膨大、イーロン・マスクはなんか今世界で一番、今までに存在した人の中で一番お金持ちで、そのお金を何百億円か使ってドナルド・トランプにそのお金を選挙資金としてあげたから、トランプはすごい膨大なお金を使って勝つことができたと。それでホワイトハウスの庭とかでテスラの車を宣伝して、なんか今までなんか乗んないし乗れないのに、トランプはいきなりそのテスラの車を宣伝したりしていて、でイーロン・マスクって人は彼に言わせるとすごい、なんかなんだっけ、なんて言ってたっけ、とにかくいろんな女の人に自分の子供をできる限りいっぱい産ませて、自分は天才だから自分のミニチュアの子供をいっぱい作るべきだみたいな感じで、めちゃくちゃいろんな人に子供を産ませて、子育てさえしてないと。だけどとにかく自分のミニチュアを作るためになんかやってるみたいなことを言ってました。なんかこれはなんかアメリカの悪夢だ。どんだけアメリカが変な方向に動いてるかをずっと車の中で話していて、なんかなんかさっきも話してたのが、なんだっけ、グリーンカードを持った男の人が、奥さんが妊娠8ヶ月なのに、8ヶ月のアメリカ人の奥さんがいて、なんかイスラエルを批判するようなことをいろいろ言っていたら、なんだっけ、強制送還になってしまった。それでアメリカのグリーンカードも取り上げられてしまったと。そういうことをする権限はないはずなのに、アメリカの、アイスっていう、イミグレーション、入国管理局の警察部門みたいな、なんか本当になんか逮捕したりとかできるような人たちに連れて行かれて、今どこにいるかわからないとか、そういう話をしてました。とにかく恐ろしい世の中になったと。